in the sales game, when you are a salesperson and you become a leader, there's a lot of schools of thought because we've all read the articles and seen where the top seller does not necessarily a top manager make. But I'm interested in your philosophy around how do you successfully make that transition? You've made that transition. I've made that transition, and I think we go into it with a certain expectation, but we also learn a great deal by doing. So I would be very curious from your worldview, how has your experience been? What key insights would you give to somebody who may be thinking about going into leadership or just became a manager?
Yep. So, for me, going into a manager role was breaking out of the mindset of being fully customer focused. However, going into this role, I did promise myself that I'll still be selling. Granted, I'm not gonna be in consistent customer calls like I used to be, but I think the cool thing with this new role is I get to mold a brand new team of excited sellers, right? And I also get to still use my skill sets as a seller with my team. So something else that I've learned as a leader overall is as much as we want our sellers to be obsessed with our customers, we have to be obsessed with our sellers. And I've noticed that you're gonna have people that micromanage, which is not my style at all. And then you're gonna have managers that just trust your individuals, right? And I think what's really cool is I set an expectation with my people going in within their one-on-one meetings, telling them, look, listen, I don't micromanage, I don't do any of that. I do set expectations, but at the same time, we're both adults, and I will do whatever it takes to make sure that you're successful. And I also set the expectation that I still want to be a seller, and they love that. And since I had the great opportunity to be a technical seller or a sales engineer for about 3.5 years in the past, I get to still come in and demonstrate these solutions with customers. Granted, not as much as I used to, but I think it's really impactful that I get to come in, mold a brand new team, show them how I used to do things as a successful seller, and then see them grow into successful sellers. It's really cool bringing in someone external that has really never sold technology and then ramping them up to be top tier. It's sometimes it's not all about the money, right? Granted, as sellers, we love meeting quota, we love getting those bonus checks, but it's really, really cool to see my sellers be successful and then help them grow into more strategic roles, right? And then again, I'm still gonna sell. Bottom line, I'm still selling, man. I'm still gonna come in hot on those deals, and I'm still gonna put the foot down and show my people what it's all about. And then in turn, I get to see them be successful sellers.
Love it. So much to unpack there. Customer obsession, but it's customer obsession by proxy.
Yeah.
You're going to influence and stay at the pulse of what's going on with customers by staying at the pulse of your team, and it looks different. I really think it's important what you said about micromanagement and frankly lack thereof. The most important thing when you're stepping into a leadership role from an individual contributor role is to not put yourself above anybody that's on that team. Frankly, they're all in that role for a reason, and it's because of their unique superpower. It's why they're there. So the goal is really to figure out, especially if you're managing people that were formerly your colleagues, the goal is to step in really and understand where are these people in their journey. Your top priorities as a leader are to establish a level of communication and rapport and trust, and you're going to do that through communication and transparency. But at the same time, you got to figure out where are these folks in their journey? What are their motivators? Do they care about money only? Do they just want to cling to their job? Or do they want to be the VP someday? Because no matter what it is, you've got to develop a plan with them to get them there and then hold each other accountable to that. I view our relationship with an employer as a contract. They agreed to give you the training and the benefits and the support that they promised you, and you pledge to be the same person you pledge to be on interview day. And I think we have to remind ourselves that sometimes, even when we're feeling like, we're down, or, something transpires that we don't agree with in our organization, we've got to remind ourselves, like, hey, am I being the guy that I said I'd be on interview day? That's important to me personally. But our goal as a manager is remove barriers, stay at the pulse of what's going on with clients and also with our team, and figure out ways to promote them, get them where they want to be. Your point about not being, the micromanagement piece, micromanagement is, in my mind, it's just short-sightedness. It's looking at a metric, or it's looking at something that's on a report, and choosing to go about it in a way that may not be so strategic. And what I mean by that, like, for instance, if you set up time, like a regular cadence with one of your team members, and the goal of that cadence is to just drill into their business and ask them a ton of questions, could that time be spent better? Because
Right.
At the end of this, we're analyzing the results, but the results, I'm going to use another medical analogy. The results are really just the items that you can use to make a diagnosis. I need to go use these results to go back and say, hey, our result is not great in this bucket, or, we really need to improve in this bucket. What are you finding? What are you seeing? What challenges are you having in producing in this bucket? Let's develop a plan together around that piece. And then you've got to let the game play. You can't, if you're in a football game, you can't just stop just because, they guessed your play and they're about to sack your quarterback. You can't just say, oh, wait, hold up, I got to analyze the plan. No, the plan, you got to let the game be played out, and then continue to have a sync with this person. Because if you keep coming in and meddling, they're going to lose confidence. And frankly, your time and their time is better spent doing other things. I think it's also important, too, that you said that about continuing to sell, continuing to be involved. I think as a leader, you're there from a support perspective. You're there to serve and protect, figure out what they need, and evangelize for them, arm them with what they need to be successful, figure out what motivates them, figure out their superpowers, and just help them be successful in every way, shape, and form. So I think you're spot on.